Hey everybody, Dave Palet. Welcome to a special edition of JP25 Media. Getting a chance to talk a little Major League and Minor League Baseball. This is a show I'm extremely excited about. With me to my right, I have Julian Escobedo. He's also with the Cleveland Guardians. He's in their farm system. I have Casey Schmitt, third baseman prospect for the San Francisco Giants, and Marcelo Mayer, future shortstop for the Boston Red Sox. So all three guys, the reason I'm excited about doing this show, number one, they're all guys who are steps away from becoming major leaguers, but also these are three guys that grew up in the same neighborhood. And it's so rare for someone to make it to the big leagues, and then let alone to three guys that played in the same little league, same guys that went to the same high school, and here they are living the dream of that step of becoming a Major League Baseball player. And so I have a bunch of questions for you because in case people want to know where we're at, we're basically in Eastlake, which is part of Chula Vista, California. And guys, my feeling is, before we get into where you're at now, is you played Eastlake Little League. And for the area we are, I've always said to people, we're in the biggest hotbed for youth baseball in the world. And I always say the world, and the people always raise their eyebrows at me. But I'll say there are 8,000 little leagues in the world, yet in the triangle that we have of Eastlake Little League, Sweetwater Little League, Parkview Little League, one of those leagues is always represented in the Little League World Series. It's pretty amazing the amount of talent that we have just in such a small area of about 5 to 6 miles. You three guys all played in the same Little League, played at Eastlake Little League. I was lucky enough to have coached in that league. And from my side, I've had a chance to coach Julian since he was little, Casey since he was 4, and Marcelo, who's a little bit younger than both you guys. When Marcelo was 7, people would come up to me and say, I just saw a future major leaguer. And he was 7 years old. And it always kind of blew me away that when there's talent and you find it at an early age, you go, wow, we knew it was there. You know, Casey at 4 years old played on my T-ball team, and he was a mess. I'll tell you right now, I literally would stand out there going, I will never coach this kid again. He didn't understand that every time the ball was hit, everybody had an area. Casey was like, forget it. I'm playing short, but if that ball's hit to right, I'm going to get that one. That ball's hit to left, I'm going to get that one too. And you looked at him and you realized he had a passion for the game. And it went from the guy's a psycho to the guy is absolutely has a passion for this game. Julian was the same way. And Marcelo, from what everyone told me who coached him as a youth, said not only did he have extreme talent, you could tell this kid loved playing baseball. So first question to you guys as we get started, and Julian, I'll ask you first. Have you always wanted to be a professional baseball player?
I think from the moment I started, really. I mean, I only started when I was 10 years old. I kind of started late compared to everyone else, but I kind of fell in love with the game because of the players and the coaches who I was around. I mean, that really to me was something special. To kind of win games, to go to practices, to do social events, all of that combined kind of just made me fall in love with the game even more, to be honest with you.
And Casey, moving on to you, again, since you were 4 years old, it seemed like this was what you were meant to do. I mean, everyone, I was lucky enough, again, to watch you grow up and watch you become the baseball player you are, where you exceeded expectations. All of you did. But people who were your next door neighbors would say, this kid does not ever go inside the house. All he does has a ball in his hand all the time. You're the one guy I've met when people ask me questions about you. They said, if Casey didn't play baseball, what would he be doing? I said, you know what? I don't know. I mean, if there's one guy I know that was meant to be a baseball player, it was Casey Schmitt. For you, at what age did you realize this is all I want to do?
I mean, since I was younger, ever since I started playing baseball, for me, it was baseball and soccer. So I played both. So I would kind of juggle between, and then I think right when I got into like middle school areas, when it's like baseball was just kind of like the only thing I really wanted to do. I didn't want to like, pursue any other like sports or anything. So I just kind of just did that, and I just continued just to play baseball, and then here we are today.
Absolutely loved it. And Marcelo, for you, as I said, for 7 years old, I mean, it's very young for people, grown men, to say, hey, there's a future major leaguer at the 7-year-old age. And then the stories, as I knew your father and I knew your older brother, and the stories that, this kid's hitting baseballs while he's in his living room. He's taking batting practice in his living room. At what age were you introduced to the sport, and when did you realize and go, this is my favorite thing to do?
I mean, I always make the joke that, like, out of the hospital, my dad gave me, like, a plastic bat and, like, a ball and a glove. So ever since I can really remember, I was, playing baseball. I played a lot of sports growing up as well, but just baseball is always a little bit more fun than everything else.
So as you guys make the transition and you go from Little League and you start getting more and more attention because through not only All-Stars and travel ball and people start paying attention to who you are, did the game always remain a game for you guys, or did at one point did it feel like, hey, you know what, there are people watching me that aren't my parents, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles? It became like, hey, it's a different game all of a sudden, or were you always able to keep it as a game?
I mean, for me, I don't know. I think the game obviously stayed the same like it always does. I mean, whether we're playing now, it's just kind of a bigger stage. But at that time, I kind of, enjoyed that with everyone else that I was playing with. I don't know. It didn't give me any sort of pressure or anything. I just continue to have fun and just enjoy it with my teammates and, the people that were around me.
Yeah, I mean, kind of for me too. Growing up, I used to play with all my buddies in front of my house playing baseball, and it was always fun. So, just growing up, like, the game's always been fun. It doesn't matter, like, where you're playing. It's not really much pressure. You're just having fun playing the game you love.
Casey, what about you?
100%. Yeah, I think it's always just been like a game for me. It's always been something that I just love to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about baseball 24/7, like all day, like even before I'm about to go to sleep. Like I'm thinking about like baseball. Like, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? Like, what can I do tomorrow to, kind of make myself better? But it's always just been something that I've just loved to do. And it's so much fun for me.
So growing up, Julian and Casey were teammates on the same kind of all-star teams and travel ball and everything else. And you guys in high school even and college, you guys that were teammates even at San Diego State. Yeah. But even as close as you were, everybody has friends they play baseball with. Marcel, I'm sure you had best friends when you were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old that those guys were my guys. But I always say in sports, especially in baseball, it's kind of like a pyramid where everybody can play at the bottom, but not everybody can make it to the top. Derek Jeter's best friend didn't play second base for the New York Yankees. Only certain guys can make it. Was that tough leaving, let's say, friends behind to go, you know what, this is my dream and it might be theirs too, but I'm the one who's getting an opportunity?
What do you guys think?
I mean, not really. I mean, I was lucky enough to have like friends my best friends are still playing right now, so they're pretty good.
Yeah. And
then, you make new friends, but, you're playing the game that you love because you love it, not because other people do.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think, I have friends that are still playing too. But, I don't think you live, like, leave them behind. Like, I still, like, am in contact with, like, a lot of them and, we hang out and stuff. But, yeah, I think it's definitely like it's definitely like a weird kind of thing. But you do, you go out and you play all these different other teams and all these other teams, and you start making friends, and like your friend group starts getting bigger and bigger, like almost every single year.
It's one of those things I always think is kind of exciting in baseball where there's nothing like winning as a team. I mean, you're talking 25, 26 guys on a roster. As you said, you move up, whether they're guys that you played Little League with that weren't on your high school team or went to San Diego State with you. And Marcelo went straight from high school right into Major League Baseball or professional baseball with the Red Sox. But you were supposed to go to USC. If you didn't sign with the Red Sox, you'd have gone to USC as a student, where you would have made, friends in college and everything else as far as the way you guys go. As a team standpoint of it, what is it like when you guys move on into the professional ranks? Because now there might be even a language barrier, people have different backgrounds. All of a sudden, it might feel a little bit different. How hard is it to get accustomed to new teammates?
It was a little different, but I think that's kind of the beauty of baseball is that the community is like very diverse. I mean, you're always kind of meeting someone new from different backgrounds, from different religions and, ethnicities. So it's kind of, you feel comfortable, when you get, when you sign into a professional team, but at the same time, like it's kind of, it's kind of surreal because you're experiencing this with someone who's also experiencing it. So you're going through it together, especially when you first sign. Like for me, 2019, like I met Dominican players who also signed in 2019, and it was for real. It was surreal for them to show up and be in Arizona and be in California and, enjoy this with them was special for me. So it was cool and it's been awesome to meet, people from all around the world.
Yeah, like you said, the baseball community is huge, and there's a lot of Latins in this game. I was lucky enough to be bilingual growing up, so, I use that to my advantage, being able to bring people together and stuff. So for me, the change wasn't really that much just because I was able to get along with everybody.
I think it was cool. I'm a little bilingual.
Yeah.
But not very fluent, but like I understand it a little more than I can speak it. But I think it's really interesting because like you're meeting like guys from like the Dominican Republic, like Venezuela, like other like places. Like it's like a whole like crazy thing, and they all kind of share the same passion, to play baseball. So I think it's really like special and it's awesome.
Is there a difference from different parts, like whether you're from Venezuela or the Dominican or the United States, as far as the people that come into your locker room to try and win a baseball game with you, the attitude as far as, I'll just use the word team player. Is everyone there always a team player, or does it feel like certain guys put the team second and worry about the individual stats?
Honestly, the most important part is the passion that's there. And if you want it just as bad as I do, I want you on my team. And I think that's for the most part, every Dominican player, every person from, from international players to from people in the United States, like if you want it just as bad and the passion is there, you're going to put all your work and effort in it. And that's kind of what makes you a good teammate. It's just if you're working hard with me in a sense for me.
Yeah, like he said, these guys kind of like become your brothers. You're with them every single day for 7 months. So you get to learn a lot about these guys. Like, everybody's different, but like these guys really get to know you. You go through ups and downs with these guys a lot. So like they become family. Yeah,
definitely. Like you're with these guys for literally like half the year basically. So you're really learning like a lot about them. And, it's a real cool thing because you never would have like thought that you're going to be like friends with like someone like in a different country, like, and they're here in the States and you're playing ball. It's like, it's pretty cool.
So Casey, I'll ask you, last year with the Giants organization, you moved up really quick with a bunch of different teams. Is it strange to keep jumping team to team? I know all three of you actually jumped team to team last year. You all moved up in the organization, but is it hard to be teammates with someone that maybe is saying, I haven't known this guy for 2 months, all of a sudden he's walking into our clubhouse, or are you always accepted when you walk into a new situation?
I feel like you're always accepted, but I feel like my first year, so in 2020, we had like a little like camp, right? So I got to know like a lot of the guys that were already in like the organization that've been there maybe like a year or whatnot, maybe like a little older, a little younger, whatever. But as I was like on like when I started in high, like I knew like most of the guys, I knew pretty much everyone, and you start playing the year, you start getting to know everyone, and then I move up to the next team, and then those same guys from in the instructional league. Or basically instructional league, and so you know them, and then it makes you a little more comfortable because like you're playing like baseball with like them again.
Yeah.
So it's cool, and it just like kind of just keeps going.
Yeah, they really do a good job actually. A lot of organizations like have camps throughout the off season, and so you get to know a lot of these guys beforehand before playing with them. So you get really familiar with all these guys, and you get comfortable with playing with them because you know them already.
Yeah, for me, it was my first spring training this year, so I was able to, meet damn near everybody in the organization, and you're with them for a month. And there's usually a specific group that you're with. Most of the time, like for me, I was with the infielders, outfielders. I didn't like pitchers. Like I had to get to know some pitchers as I moved up the level, but you're with these guys every single day, so you get to know them pretty quick.
So I want to go back to the day that you guys were actually drafted. You have to make a decision. Casey and Julian were at San Diego State. And again, you have to make a decision on what you're going to do. Are you going to pursue a Major League Baseball career? All of you are in a little bit of a different situation. Julian has always been an outfielder. Of course, when you're younger, you pitch, but always been an outfielder. Casey was one of those guys going into the draft that didn't know if you were going to be drafted as a pitcher or be drafted as an infielder. And, the way it works in professional baseball is they'll try you, let's say, as an infielder or catcher or outfielder, whatever. And then if you can't hit, well, before he goes, let's see if he can pitch. You don't go from pitcher to shortstop. And with Marcelo, you were always, in your senior year in high school, you were known as the number one player in the country. And there's just a ton of publicity on you where at any time, did you honestly think USC is where I'm going, or had you and your family decided I'm going pro?
You never know what could happen with this game. So, I always kept an open mind, but I always wanted to be a professional baseball player. That was always the dream, and I got the opportunity, so I took it.
Casey, with you going to the Giants, and they tell you at what point that, Casey, we want to put you as an infielder before we want to give you a shot as a pitcher.
Yeah, it was kind of right away. So, like, right when I started talking to them, and they like when they announced the pick, they announced it as third baseman, and then I don't know who the was talking about, but they were like talking about it, like, oh, it's interesting, like, oh, because he's a pitcher too, so it's weird. So yeah, they told me pretty much right away that they're gonna give me just want me to play infield, play third, and just focus everything on that rather than having to focus or having to like juggle pitching and hitting, which is extremely difficult. So like Otani doing things he's doing is crazy. But yeah, I think just focusing on that really, I feel like it really helped me because I got to just focus on these kind of things and I don't have to worry about like the pitching.
Okay, I always ask this question to Major League Baseball players who were, star pitchers as well. Have you ever been in a situation in a game where, let's say you're playing third base and it's not your day as your team and you guys are getting killed and you guys aren't getting anybody out, where you're sitting there thinking, geez, just put me in. Just let me.
All the time.
All the time? You think
all
the same
time.
thing?
They won't let me go in, though.
Yeah, of course not. And they're going to let him go in either.
They're like, I know you're going to try if you get on the mound.
Jokingly, though.
Do you ever say it?
I've said it like a couple times just like messing around.
Team meetings like, just let me throw the splitter. We'll get out of this. Like,
I'm like, come on, I got the cutter, the sinker, split, the rising fastball. What are we doing?
Right.
Yeah,
you got all the signs down just in case.
No, I don't know the signs. I always say like jokingly.
One thing we won't get. Yeah, there's the signs.
No.
I remember Casey pitching in high school once in a CIF game where I swear before every pitch he just did this. I'm not throwing that. And you know what? He breezed through like 4 or 5 straight innings. And I don't think one person touched him. Yeah. And every time the catcher threw a sign, I'm not doing that. You kidding me? I'm going to throw what I want to throw and watch this. And it worked. Marcel, you've always had an extremely good arm. Have they basically kept you off the mound on purpose? Was that a family decision, or was that like who decided that even though this kid has a cannon for an arm, his best shot is going to be as a shortstop?
Yeah, I mean, growing up as a little kid, I did pitch a little bit, but then when I got to like age 12, 13, I was just like pretty much a BP thrower. I just grew it right down the middle. So my pitching career was pretty short.
When you guys get picked up, okay, so the draft's coming along, and as funny as I was there when Marcelo got drafted, I was in the same room. It was really exciting for the entire community. We were at a local restaurant and we're watching on television, and everybody was so happy to see this kid realize his dream, and it was awesome. With Julian, when he got taken, it was different because there were different teams that you had a chance of being taken by, and you were turning down offers, and their draft is going on and you're turning down offers. And you and I spoke on the phone right before Cleveland took you. And I was like, Julian, you've always wanted to be a professional baseball player. They're going to make it happen. The next guy that calls is going to give you your dream. Go ahead and do it. And Cleveland offered whatever they offered, and you took it, and you joined the organization. And with Casey, I don't know if you remember this call, but you and I were talking right before the pick, and I said, hey, we had a dream that you were drafted by the Dodgers, and you're like, that'd be fine with me. If I go to the Dodgers, I go to the Dodgers. And then when the Giants took you, I said to you, first thing was the best organization I think took you, because they were in a rebuilding mode, whereas the Dodgers, even though they have a great minor league system, they weren't in a position to call you up anytime soon, whereas the Giants almost put you in a great position to call you up. So all three of you guys kind of like Marcelo went to an organization in the Red Sox where they're looking that he's the future shortstop for years to come, and that fan base is excited. I know with the Giants, they're extremely excited that Casey's in their system. And with Julian, of course, it's a talented young team. You're in a different situation because that organization is very, very young, where I don't know if these two guys are aware of it, but if you took Cleveland's major league team and you put them in the minor leagues, they would still be the youngest minor league team. Yeah. And I
read that too somewhere.
Yeah. That's so crazy. The competition level is nuts, where, hey, I'm just looking for a place to fit in and make it. It's a great organization. All three are great organizations and have farm systems that are going in the right direction. But it is one of those where you're like, man, I got to just keep working and get my shot. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, what's been nice to see this year with the organization with the big league team is that there was, I want to say, like 17 major league like debuts.
Wow, that
happened, and that's unheard of, really. So it's nice when you see your teammates and people getting their shot and moving up in the ranks of of the organization more frequently than not. So it definitely hypes you up a little more, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm right there, I got a shot for sure. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're moving up guys and they're trusting their guys. So it's really exciting to see.
Casey, so in your situation with the Giants, I mean, for me as someone who's cheering for you, I'm looking at contracts on the Giants. I'm going, okay, when's Longoria's deal done? What fits in for Casey? And then what trades do they make to possibly put guys in your way? So I'm rooting for the kid. I'm not rooting for the team. I'm going, okay, he's the only guy I know that's associated with the Giants organization. How does this fit in? And then people tell me, look, Casey Schmitt's doing fantastic. Had a great year last year in the minors. Things are working out as the organization had planned. Do you pay attention to guys who are in front of you and where you're going to fit in this organization? Or is it one of those when the time's right, the time's right?
Yeah, for me, it's kind of when the time's right, I'm just going to go out there and kind of just do my thing. And then, whenever it happens, it happens. But, I'm not really, focused on, someone else. I'm just kind of focused on, winning as a team, like during when you get to your affiliates and everything, and then just kind of just continue to get better and just kind of just working.
Worry about what you can control.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So, Marcelo, your situation, obviously, when you're drafted as high as you were, and Marcelo was drafted 4th overall by the Red Sox, but was supposed to go 1 to the Pirates. When I'll tell you, the best thing that ever happened to you, by the way, just my opinion. You don't have to say anything, but you went into an organization that has a history of winning. It's historic, and you have ownership that obviously has 4 championships just in this century. When you look at the Red Sox, that you're going, yeah, well, where do I fit in? I'm sure you look at the guys that were in front of you. You have one of the best shortstops in all of baseball in Xander Bogaerts. All of a sudden, shockingly, he's with a different team going into 2023. Does the organization say anything to you after that deal is made, or is it just, hey, this is front office stuff and we'll talk to you in spring training?
Yeah, that's above my pay grade. They do their thing. For me, I just try to go out there every day and try to get better every day. And, I think everything will take care of itself if I just put my head down and work.
Did that surprise you? I mean, and don't mean to cut you off, but did that surprise you for the fact, the stories I always heard were Xander Bogaerts was nice to you when you guys had met?
He's awesome. He's awesome, dude. And I was looking forward to him, to learn a lot from him. But, it's the business side of the game, and I wish him the best.
So, again, just like I root for all 3 of you guys, and I try and figure out the math. And if you're uncomfortable, answering to what I say, let me know. But I look at Bogaerts gone. Trevor Story used to be a shortstop. They moved him to second last year when they signed him away from the Rockies. From my standpoint, is Trevor Story's there until Marcelo's ready to go. And for the Red Sox, it's an interesting situation because right now their team has what's considered maybe the best bullpen in all of baseball. Yet starting pitching is a question mark, and the everyday lineup might be a little bit of a question mark. It's the organization will bounce back and be competitive. You have to be being part of the Boston nation, Red Sox nation, I should say. When you look at what Fenway Park is, the history of the Red Sox, the excitement of the organization, is it one of those where you think about the history and, hey, I can't wait to be part of it? You picture yourself in that uniform in Fenway Park?
100%. I mean, I was super lucky to get drafted by the Red Sox that high in the draft. Teams usually like that don't really pick that high, so I was extremely lucky, and I'm looking forward to one day playing with them.
That's amazing. So when you guys signed, did you guys get a chance to take BP at those stadiums before you went into the minor league system on their field?
I did.
No, I didn't get a chance to do that.
Mine was during COVID, so everything was still kind of.
You were out, so you still never get a chance to hit in front of right there with the Giants.
I got to do it once last year during it was a strength and conditioning camp, and they let us go on the field and hit, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, it was during COVID. During the draft, so I was kind of just okay, you're drafted, but now you're just you're at home, so cool. it sucked, but and then they let us go to instructs for a little bit.
What about Marcelo? What about you? You said you got a chance to hit at Fenway?
Yeah, it was insane. It was my first time being there, and then I got to take ground balls with Bogaerts and Devers, and then hit with Verdugo and all those guys. And I got lucky because they were playing the Yankees at the time too, so I got to see a little rivalry action.
That's cool.
When you were at Fenway, did it make you, as a left-handed swinger, did it make you feel like, hey, do I need to change my swing? I mean, the Green Monster is right there. When you're in Fenway Park, you're like, that's it. That's as far back as it goes. Are you tempted at all to go the Wade Boggs format of I'm just going to bounce doubles off this wall my whole career, or are you saying I'm going to stay with my swing and I'm going to basically pull the Ted Williams move and try and stay with the home runs?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much stay with my swing. Obviously, if they throw on the outside part of the plate, I'll try to go that way, but, not really change much. Obviously, you make adjustments and stuff, but, yeah, we'll see.
Julian, you said you went to Progressive Field, but you didn't get a chance to take BP?
No, I didn't get a chance, no. I think they were playing at that time, so they flew us out to Cleveland, and then they had us had us and our families walk out on the field during BP, and then we were on the Jumbotron and we were just kind of waving and stuff. That was it.
So overall, when you guys were drafted, did you end up with the team that you thought was going to draft you, or was it a situation where I talked to so many other teams, I was surprised this is the one that actually picked me?
Not at all. For me, I think we were talking about it. You had called me before. I was expecting a different team who had called me before I had picked up from the Guardians or the Indians at that time, but I don't know. Everything kind of happens for a reason, but the Guardians have been, they've invested a lot of time and effort in me and all the guys as well. So I think I've been blessed to be a part of the organization, but it's been great.
I had no clue.
No clue.
Oh my God.
How many teams did you talk to before that? Was it like all of them, or how many were you?
So like in college, they'll come in and they'll have like little like interviews.
Yeah.
So like I talked to I think almost every single team except for maybe the Padres.
Yeah.
And so and then come draft day, and I was just like sitting there, and I was like, okay, what's going on? My agent's like texting me, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on, and he's like, okay, I think you might go right here. I was like, all right. And then boom, Giants picked me right there where we thought I was gonna go, and it was awesome. It was one of the best moments of my life. I'm so excited that I'm in like this organization because I love everything about it.
Did you get the phone call from the Giants before it was on television? Like we were all watching an MLB Network, and your name goes across the bottom of the screen. Mm-hmm. Did you know before your name went across the screen?
Yeah. So I was texting my agent. So I had my agent handle all he was doing, all the draft stuff, and he texted me and said, okay, it should be a done deal right here.
Yeah.
And then I like whispered into my parents' ear, and I was like, okay, it's right here. Yeah. And then they announced it. Then we kind of celebrated a little bit.
Yeah, Marcelo, as I said, I was in the restaurant when you got picked. It was so loud from beginning to end that we couldn't hear anything. And we were all kind of curious to know, when did you know how things were going to go?
I knew when the Rangers were on the clock. Like right when the Rangers picked, I knew that the Red Sox picked me. Like they knew that Job was gonna get picked to the Tigers, and then my agent was like on the phone with the Red Sox, and they made the deal happen.
You don't have to name the cities, but were there any teams or cities where you're going, hey, I want to be a professional baseball player, but I sure hope it's not there? Were there any of those that you had in your mind that you're going, man, I'm glad that team didn't draft me?
I think we all have those cities.
Yeah. I play the game in my head all the time, and no one's calling, but I still play the game in my head. I'm like, man, I don't want to go there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but at the end of the day, it all happens for a reason.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't care who I got picked up by, to be honest with you. I didn't have a team where I was like, I don't want to be with them.
Yeah.
I just wanted the shot.
And there are people who say that, who do exactly what you said, where they're like, hey, what's it like playing in Canada, or what's it like going to Kansas City? Or they always find, if you want to be a professional baseball player, of course, you're going to take one of the 30 teams. Yeah. But at the same time, you think in your mind, well, if I got a chance to choose. So I'll ask you this question, since all of you guys have always said you always wanted to be professional baseball players. As you're going through these interviews and you're talking to other teams, do you start picturing yourself in those uniforms and going, what would I look like playing here? What jersey number? Like, do you start playing the game in your head, what the dream would look like?
Yeah, I think it's kind of just like like how everyone's mind works. Pretty much like you're talking to the organization. Like they send a guy to come meet with you, so you're kind of like, you're obviously thinking about like the future. Like, okay, what could what could it hold? But yeah, I think you definitely think about it. You kind of have to.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's Marcelo, I assume the same thing, right?
Yeah,
yeah. I don't blame you. I think every kid does it. Even the ones that don't get picked, obviously, or get drafted to play professional baseball, they always picture themselves in that uniform. Even
I was
if it's
always
not their favorite team.
Yeah, I was always picturing myself as a Padre.
Really?
Yeah.
Always as a Padre. And it's strange. It's not a shot at the Padre organization, but so many people in San Diego say they don't get those phone calls from the Padres. And, they're right there. It's funny, the two closest teams to where you guys grew up, the Angels and the Padres, are the two teams that seem to always show the least amount of interest for the players in San Diego. I thought for sure Casey was going to the Cubs. From everyone I had spoken to, I thought you were going to be a Cub. And the problem that they were having was, at the time, pitcher, third baseman. And you start playing the game in your head on where they possibly might go. Marcelo, I knew you were going to be somewhere at the top. And the Pirates organization, I'll be honest with you, and I'll speak. You know, I say one word is the Pirates organization is in a situation where I feel bad for the baseball fans there because they have an owner that the fan base dislikes right now, and they aren't going to the games because of the owner. And everybody wants to play in front of a full house, right? We all know about the fan bases of the 3 organizations you guys are with. You know, the Guardians, Red Sox, Giants. That the fan bases are unbelievable, and the passion for baseball is what you guys had as a kid, and those are the people that are going to go in, support you. It's not a better situation you could possibly be in. I think all 3 of you with great organizations. When you guys go to spring training, okay, this is one of those things where you go, if everything was perfect, all right, if I was a Major League Baseball player, if I was a free agent, I would want to go to a team that had spring training in Arizona. And my reason is, it's easier to get to the ballparks in Arizona. If you're in Arizona, the ballparks are, 10, 15 minutes away. The furthest one might be Cleveland, the Cubs, which is 40 minutes away. It's not far, but when you're like Marcelo, and I know it's not an issue, you're a pro baseball player, but your fields are like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
So it's 2 hours there, 2 hours back. It's a long day in the heat and everything else, where it's a lot of time during your day. Whether you're looking to get treatment, you're looking to get extra hitting in, you're looking to just eat, nutrition, whatever you do in your routine, it's a difference. So if I was like a free agent, that would be one of those things that would jump to my mind. At any time, did you guys think that, hey, when the team that got me, hey, at least my spring training is in so-and-so?
I mean, it wasn't in my head until you had told me before
Really?
I got drafted. Yeah, to be honest with you, you were like, hope you get picked by a national league team so you can be in Arizona. But or not national league team, but I mean a team that
has spring training in Arizona. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking. I was like, wait, that.
Wait a second.
It doesn't work like that. But yeah, no, Arizona's a lot better. I've never been to Florida, but I mean, 2 hour drive. That's no way I could do that. I'd be taking a 2 hour nap.
We play the Twins a lot because they're like 5 minutes from us, so we play them like 3 times a week. So
there you go.
Travel,
and again, I know it's small complaint. I mean, you're living the dream job, but. Have you been to Florida before you went to spring training with the Red Sox, or was it new to you? I mean, we're talking humidity, you're talking big changes compared to the perfect weather in San Diego.
No, yeah, I'd been before. In the travel ball circuit, there's a lot of tournaments in Florida, so I went like 3 or 4 times before that. So I knew what I was getting myself into. There's no doubt that spring training in Arizona is easier as a West Coast kid, but I don't mind the challenge. It takes me a little bit out of my comfort zone, so it makes me a better player.
What's interesting about that is, with you being with Boston, when you get called up, your travel actually will be easier at the major league level than what these guys, what Casey especially will have when he gets called up, because going from San Francisco to wherever you're basically going. It's going to take a while.
I didn't think of that.
I'm sorry,
that's true.
But when he's in Boston, look at his trips. I mean, they're short trips. They're boom, boom, boom. You're going Boston to Baltimore is nothing. Yeah. Boston, New York is nothing. It's now that you play a balanced schedule. Boston to Philadelphia is nothing. I mean, you're right there. It's not a bad schedule at all. Julian even has a better one with Cleveland, but Seattle obviously has a horrible one, right? Seattle has a ridiculous one. And Casey, kind of the same thing, except when you're going up and down the coast, San Diego, Los Angeles, Colorado, those places where it's going to be a little bit shorter. But you guys are flying great flights. Everything's comfortable, all you can eat, the whole deal. But it's a long season, 162 games. It does start to wear on you where you're like, I just want to get back into my bed. I just want to get my own comfort zone. It's I'm just curious to know, Casey, did you think at all about the spring training? I think you've already developed a residence in Arizona, right?
Yeah. So I live in Scottsdale. So I think it couldn't have been like more perfect. Like I'm like right by the facility. So it's like a really short drive and everything. And it's like a 5.5 hour drive from here to Arizona. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. And going back to like the travel situation, man, I don't know if I'll have a problem with like traveling, because like this year, kind of a funny story. So this year we were going, I was in Dublin. We were going to, I want to say, I don't know, it was like a 6 hour like bus ride, and we stopped like 2 hours in, and I was like, I can like usually sleep like anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like on the bus, and I'm like, my God, I just can't sleep. So then I go into, I think it was like a Bed Bath & Beyond or something, and I bought a dog bed, and I put it in between the seats.
Yeah.
Like on the floor, and I slept in it. It was like a hotel bed. It was so comfortable, and I slept like the whole ride back. It was perfect. Yeah, I think
You still have it?
I don't really know where it is. I think I might have left it, honestly. But dude, it was like the most like perfect like sleep, and I got like a little blanket and everything, and I already had my pillow, so I was just like kind of just like in there just to sleep.
Yeah.
It was sick.
A lot of guys do that. They'll sleep like on the walkways of like long in buses.
Everyone
long
has
buses.
their setup.
You're
yeah.
like monkey barring your way to the bathroom, so
Yeah.
you can like wake people up. It's
the
funny.
bathroom's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't. Monkey bars. I'm literally like that. Yeah.
So when you guys do travel, like you said that by bus, how do they feed you guys? How does it work?
We usually like stop or somewhere. Like we'll stop at like a little like I don't know what it's called, but like a little place, and they'll have like a In-N-Out, like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A. They'll always like make sure there's like places to like where we stop.
Yeah.
That, like to like get off the bus and like walk around. Like there's like places for us to like go sit down, give us like an hour and a half, hour to go over there and go eat. And then same thing with like a hotel. They always like have us like stay in like a place where like it's a nice hotel, and then like around like the outside there's places to get food. So it's a pretty good setup.
Yeah.
People always talk about minor leagues as far as, and things are supposed to be getting better. But when you guys, your home stadium where you guys live, are you responsible for your own apartments? Do you guys have roommates? How do the living conditions work?
Well, with the Red Sox, we had roommates. We were in like a pretty nice apartment. And then you get 2 meals a day at the field before the game, after the game. Pretty much just breakfast is on you. And then away trips, you get meal money. So you just use your meal money on away trips.
Was it better or worse than you thought it was going to be?
Just better. And then in Hyatt, it's like we have some nice apartments because Greenville's like a nice area.
Yeah.
So it's pretty nice up there.
What about you?
It was a great setup, honestly. I think this year was really nice. I mean, in Akron, Ohio, for AA, it was a 2-minute walk to the field, and we had really nice apartments. I mean, I shared a really big apartment with a roommate of mine, teammate, and I mean, we got fed. We have a big kitchen, and the clubhouse is nice with ping pong table. So the more I've gotten up, the better it's been. But it's nice. Yeah, it's been nice. And I think next year for sure is going to be a lot nicer.
Casey, what about you? What about your
Yeah,
setup?
same thing. I think it's all been good. Like you have like your roommate, and they put you in like a nice place, and then some guys have a car, some guys don't. So we just kind of figure out your ways to the field. And yeah, you're kind of on your own for breakfast.
Yeah.
So I would I'd crush some Eggos or something, or like make some eggs or whatever. But yeah, then they'll feed you like a pregame meal and then dinner.
So let me ask you, the fan bases in these minor league cities. I'm always curious because as a kid I grew up in Los Angeles, but then when I was 6 years old I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and all we had was minor league baseball, and I was all in. I mean, that's all we had, which is kind of funny to age myself a little bit. But the team that I followed, Buck Showalter was on the team, who's now manager of the Mets, and Don Mattingly was on the team, and Willie McGee, who won an MVP, was on the team. And you start to say, well, this is what we have. I mean, you're on the news, the highlights are going, your dad takes you to the games, and you're hoping for a foul ball or an autograph, and you start to realize, this is as close as we're going to get to Major League Baseball. So for us, this is the top. What's it like being in some of these cities where the fan bases are all in on you and saying, hey, we might not have Xander Bogaerts, but Marcelo's my favorite player.
Yeah, I mean, Boston speaks for itself. It's probably one of the best fan base cities in the world. So, it's pretty cool to like have a fan base like that behind you. That's
awesome. Casey, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Like every time you go to like an affiliate, like it's like everyone like kind of like knows who you are, and they're like, oh, like always having you on, they want to sign some stuff, and they're always just like kind of throwing balls in the stands. But yeah, but there are places where you go to where like sometimes they're not gonna have like a lot of people, but like they're gonna have like people just come over and just like kind of just like ask for like autographs and stuff. So it's pretty cool just to, like have like people like kind of like know who you are. It's really special.
Yeah, I mean everyone's basically rooting for you. Those small ballparks, the home fields, they're cheering for you because when you make it, they're gonna go, we saw that kid when he was 19, 20 years old. We knew that this kid had talent.
Yeah, honestly, I've had some really special moments with fans and everything and kids, and I mean in Akron it was. That experience in itself, that whole year, like I got to meet so many like genuinely nice like people who like are true fans of the game and the players. I mean, and the Rubber Ducks of Akron like would host these events for the kids and for the players to be a part of it. But I mean, honestly, that's probably the best part is seeing all those kids and those fans. I mean, it just makes us playing the game a lot more fun.
Now, Casey and Julian, you guys had an interesting experience this summer, which I loved it. I thought it was fascinating, was when you two actually faced against each other. You went, your two teams went against each other. So two kids that grew up in the same neighborhood, you guys sleeping at each other's houses, running around like maniacs when you're tiny, and now all of a sudden you guys are both professional players on opposite teams going against each other. What was that like having, Julian on one side of the field, Casey on the other, and then at the same time, you guys are like brothers?
Yeah, no, it was actually really fun, to be honest with you. I remember when he came to my town, I was like, you got to stay in my apartment. And he stayed the whole series and playing on that field. Like, I remember walking up the steps, the first practice the first day we meet up, and it was like time hadn't really changed. Like, it was just like the other day we were playing again, like in Little League. But there were some special moments too during the games and stuff, when he hit a home run. And then I think I'm pretty sure I hit a home run as well. And just seeing us like succeed and being here at that moment, like it was really cool to me. I don't know, it was cool.
When you hit the home run, did you say anything to him, Casey, when he passed you on the bases?
I was kind of just smirking. I was kind of just like that.
I didn't want to look at him, because if I would have looked at him, I'd probably started laughing.
And then you got in trouble for it?
Yeah, I just kind of put my head down and just like, oh man.
Now,
and then what did I do? Didn't I like fake bunt?
He tried to like bunt on me too. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
and then I got a hit off you. No, yes, I did. No. And then you said the pitcher called you off, and you're like, it was your ball, but I was safe. That was the first bunt I had all year as well. I just wanted to bunt, and I bunted for a base hit.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. I'm gonna go watch it. I'm gonna go watch all games and make sure.
So Marcelo, for you, because you're obviously the youngest one here, do you run into guys like this where you say, hey, I used to play travel ball with that guy, against that guy? And I know some of your closest friends are high-level college guys right now that will be drafted this year. But do you run into guys like those two did?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, like Julian said, the baseball community is so big.
Yeah.
So you get to meet these kids from all over the country. Like, from a young age, you start playing with them, like USA Baseball area codes. You meet guys like that. So, like, I was playing probably with, like, a friend every other series. I was playing a friend, yeah.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's cool to see him do good too.
Yeah,
yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. I love to hear that stuff. Have you guys met any of your heroes like growing up? I mean, we've all done hey, my batting stance was like so and so's. Have you had a chance to meet anybody where you go, man, as a kid, that was my guy?
I can't recall.
Anybody stand out? I mean, you mentioned Xander Bogaerts, how great he was to you, and I'm sure you watched him for years, but was Xander one of your guys that you paid attention to playing that same position?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the game's best, and growing up, he still is one of the best. So growing up, watching him play was cool. I got to meet him at the All-Star game, as well as with the other All-Stars.
Oh, wow.
So just being able to meet them was pretty cool.
Do you guys run into a situation where, as you said, you try and give back to the community and the fans, and you try and give them all your time, but you can't sign for everybody a lot of times? I mean, you have to stay in your routine. You guys are still professionals. You have a job to do. Is it become one of those where it's hard, like certain days I will sign, certain days I don't sign, or the ones that say, hey, you're going to make it, and then you just go, man, it's just a lot. I just went 0 for 4 2 games in a row. I got to try and think about my swing. I can't give back as much as people want me to give back. Do you ever run into situations?
No, not really. I mean, I'm always trying, especially at home. I mean, those kids are there for a reason. They always line up at a certain spot right near our dugout, and I'm always kind of, whether it's just me or everyone else, like, we always kind of take the time, and then the staff will help us out and be like, hey, that's enough, guys. Like, they got to go back. But we're usually there for, the rest of the evening, kind of signing everything. But I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
So, if I want to sign, I'll probably head over to the field a little bit early, make sure I could, sign for the kids and stuff like that. Because for me, I remember when I was a kid, like how awesome it was to like get a signed ball from like a big leaguer, like a minor leaguer. So I always try to give back.
I'm glad you remember that. What about you, Casey?
I always, if I can, I'll go out. Usually go out a little earlier, just so I kind of just get to go do it and then go finish it and go do my stretching. And then you brought up like if 0 for 8. Like I mean, I don't really. I try not to like think about that. I kind of just come with like, okay, new day. Kind of every single day. So I mean, I'll just go out there and I'll just kind of just do my thing and then just sign them and then ready to go.
You know, it's I love the way you guys talk about it. I always like to think if, you know, I was that guy, and I'm sure parents think the same thing. If I was in your situation, I would do this, but people don't understand. There's always a routine, and a lot of times people don't realize how early you guys get to the ballpark and how late you have to stay, and then you have a travel day the next day. It's a long season that you do the best you can, but it's almost impossible to give as much time as you're going to leave somebody out. But your intentions are always good to say, I'm going to try and sign. I know a lot of major league players that will say they'll sign 1 day per series, you know, so if it's a 3-game series, I'll sign game 2. Otherwise I'm not signing game 1, not signing game 3, because I traveled in or I'm traveling out. But for kids, as you said, Marcelo, a second ago, it means a lot. Just 2 more questions for you guys. Is there a stadium in Major League Baseball, and not counting the ones that you're supposed to play your home games in, is there a stadium in Major League Baseball where you're going, man, I can't wait to bat in that stadium or play in that stadium?
Well, honestly, Yankee Stadium for me would be pretty special for me, to be honest with you.
Short porch in, right, with the left-handed swing?
Yeah, I just playing at night there, I feel like would just be so like surreal. I don't know. I've always imagined myself like being there, but I don't know. That's just, to me, that'd be really special. That'd be sick.
Yeah, to me, it's Yankee Stadium too, and me playing with the Red Sox, I kind of even want to play there a little bit more now. You know, but Yankee Stadium and Wrigley is also one that I really want to play at.
You know, my son and I had a chance to go to both of those this year, and we went to Fenway a few years ago. But they're all amazing. I mean, every baseball park's amazing. San Francisco is the trip I'll be going to this year, and this is kind of my holdback. As I said, I wasn't going to go to Cleveland until Julian made it. I wasn't going to go to San Francisco until Casey makes it, just because I want to see my first time there will be, you know, your guys' first time there. But Marcel, I could ask you, because you just said Yankee Stadium, and we always know about the rivalry between the Red Sox and the Yankees. Are you looking forward to the heckles?
Hell yeah. I love the heckles. It's almost more fun playing away sometimes than playing at home, yeah.
Get you fired up. Even if you're tired, you got the energy to
adds a
prove
little
them
bit
wrong.
of spice to the game, you know? Makes it a little bit more fun.
Dude, I tell you, to me, that seems so crazy to think of it being a shortstop for the Boston Red Sox in Yankee Stadium and what they're going to yell at you. Because you can hear it. I sat on the third base side. You can hear everything from right field of what they yell to the visiting team. It's something else. What about you, Casey? What's your dream stadium to hit in?
Mine also is Yankee Stadium, but I would also say Petco, just because I've always gone to those games as a little kid, just to be able to kind of play in front of those fans and a lot of the people that I know will probably be there.
Yeah.
Because you know, being from San Diego, so yeah, I think those things. Yeah, hearing the heckles too. The heckles, they crack me up.
So funny.
I'll be just I was my mouth like some of them are good. There's some people, dude. People are funny. People just
they dig. These guys dig.
They just sis. So they're going through
they know
looking
everything.
you up.
They know everything about you too. Yeah. I don't know where they pulled this from. But
they're talking about
really
your mother. Oh, okay, come on.
You know, one of you guys should literally, through your baseball career, write down your best trash talking that was delivered to you and put it together in a book. Because man, people buy it. What's it like to be a pro baseball player? This is what I heard in this city on this date that I remember. And I'm telling you, I think it would sell. I'd buy it. That's for sure. All right, last thing I'm gonna say, because I appreciate your guys' time, but so many kids who are watching, and for me, who's been coached, and as a kid, I always had the dream where you guys are at. I always wanted to be where you guys were. I always wanted to be a pro baseball player. I think so many people who love the game. I was a lot like, you know, Casey. That's all I did. I was always outside. I was a kid that in the middle of the night would put his full uniform on 8 hours before the game to see what it looked like, and then take it off and then get ready for the game. I just couldn't wait to always play. You guys are living the dream, and there's so many kids out there who want to live the dream and be where you guys are. Is there any advice you'd give to someone who's young to say, this is the best advice I could give you if this is what you really want to do?
I mean, I would say, you got to love it. You know, all of us here love the game, and that's why we're playing. If you're going to be doing something 6 days a week for 10 hours, you really got to love it, and you got to put in the work and make some sacrifices here and there, because it takes a lot. So the main thing for me is to love it. And when you love it, you have fun. So for me, it's not hard to go out there because I love it and it's fun to me. You know, if it was dreadful to me, I would not be playing it, you know?
Yeah, I would definitely say have fun. Have fun when you're doing it. Work hard towards it. You know, see your goal and don't let people get in the way of your goal. And just, you know, keep plugging away, keep doing things that you need to do in order to kind of reach your goal, and never let someone tell you you're not good enough, because, you know, you never know what's going to happen.
I like that. For me, I don't know. I mean, for the most part, you're definitely going to sacrifice a lot of time and effort in it. But the game always rewards you, and I feel like it's rewarded me a long time, and I feel like I'm giving back in a way. And when I do that, I have fun. And I've also had like a ton of love on my side. So the support that I've had from my family and friends, I feel like I also want to give that back to them. So baseball kind of just gives it back in a fun way. I don't know. It's good.
Yep.
Yeah, I tell you
Please
guys.
enjoy it,
Yeah, as a fan, I love watching you guys play, and it's been a privilege. I know so many people in this community are so excited and so proud of what you guys have done. It's the little things that I appreciate of what you guys do, like coaching baseball and being around baseball and loving it for as long as I have. I love the way Julian runs the bases. I love the way he gets a jump when he's playing defense, and he seems to read the situation. I love the way Casey enjoys the game and always has had that passion for it. One of my favorite things about Casey, and it might sound strange, but when I point it out to people, they always say to me, you're right, never noticed until you said that. I like the way Casey plays catch. As simple as that is, even when there's a strikeout and they throw the ball around the diamond, just
Very
the way
true.
You agree with that?
Yeah, very true.
It's different. There's confidence. It looks smooth. It looked like a major leaguer from the time you were 10 years old. I go, this kid plays catch like a major leaguer, and it sounds kind of crazy. And anyone who's ever been even to a minor league game will say when you guys play catch before a game, the velocity and the way you guys throw is different than what you would see in a park. And from a young age, you played catch like a major leaguer. And so even when you were in high school and you were a great player senior year and you're hitting bombs, I like the way you even just had control of the field. Like this is my diamond. And, for Marcelo you were a freak all the way through high school. And be that as a compliment. The swing might be as good of a swing as I've ever seen in my life. And as good as you were, one of my favorite things about Marcelo, and I saw the scouts react to the same thing I saw. We were in Arizona, and he was playing in a tournament. We weren't playing against him, and I wasn't coaching him. But Marcelo, God, they had every major league team there. And Marcelo struck out on a bad pitch. He didn't swing at it. It was outside. It was clearly outside. The umpire rang him up, and he just walked right back to the dugout. No reaction. No, you're blind. No, you're screwing me. I got money on the table. I have 30 teams looking at me to swing the bat. You're screwing me over. There's nothing. Just like a complete pro, like a grown-up, and the way he handled his business. And all three of you guys are so enjoyable to watch and such good guys that we're rooting for you. And I can't thank you guys enough for this time. This is a show I've wanted to do for a long time, so I appreciate you guys coming in here.
Thanks for having us, Dave.
Yeah, thanks for
Appreciate
having
you.
us, Dave.